Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Aries. So, Aries, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you see are from this deck. So, Aries, there is a lot going on in your reading today, but it feels like things are getting more clear by the day. And I feel like this is something that has been lingering on, almost like this decision to cross through this threshold or to step through a door, right? Which seems to be like an ending, a big ending that will shift a lot, like how your reality is or how you perceive this moment of your life. And now there is this big highlight on what seems to be the best choice, or maybe the inevitable choice, or it's like the one that is going to be more beneficial to you, right? In terms of your inner transformation. Maybe you have been avoiding your own transformation because, it could be scary. It could be something that maybe you don't know if you're going to be prepared, or if you have the resources, or if you have the maturity, or if you have the time or the health, because there is a big change going on here, right? But there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be scared about, because I do feel like there is um what I'm hearing is like luck is on your side, but not necessarily luck, but maybe like this feeling of, once this phase of change and turbulence is over, you're going to realize how good it is, right? It's like you're going to realize how much better your life can be, or how much more freedom you can enjoy, right? Especially because I do feel like, in a way, it feels like you are feeling a little bit tied, especially in terms of the finances or the material aspect or the resources or whatever practical details that perhaps have been used as excuses for you to make finally this decision to cross through this threshold, right? But now, because we're beginning with the Sun card, things are pretty clear, right? So clarity is what I'm seeing the most here with this card today for you. And I want to say this is something that really is opening your eyes, right? Sometimes I see this as a big, like, eye opening experience, something that is shining a light on a subject, right? Almost like this focal point towards something that you cannot ignore anymore. You cannot postpone, you cannot avoid, right? Because I'm seeing you like just pacing around a room, right? Maybe like a room with multiple doors, but then the one that is being highlighted, which is the death door, right? Is the one that perhaps you wish was not the one that you had to, or that that you have to cross, right? It is already slightly open. So now with the confirmation of the sun, it's almost like there are two signs, or there are two, it's almost like the slightly open door was the first sign, the first hint, the first it's like the first indication, right? That this is the door that you need to cross. But now that there is like this highlight, it's almost like you cannot wait any longer, right? It's almost like it needs to be done now for some reason, right? Because it's wanting to be like associated with, you cannot wait another day, right? It needs to be today for some reason. It wants to emphasize that it needs to be today, that you see that this is the door that you need to cross, right? So yes, it can be scary, and it's interesting because what you're going to find on the other side, it's not what you expect, to be honest, because the Six of Pentacles here is actually talking about things being fair, things being enough, resources being enough, right? And sometimes I see this as a train track, but sometimes I also see it as a bridge. And specifically because of the card that is coming next, which is the Tower, I'm seeing this as the drawbridge to the tower. So, if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see that these two major arcana are bracketing the Six of Pentacles, and the sun is over, right? So it's almost like, if you're worried about resources, if your concern is toward the material aspect of it, know that there is this big highlight that is, it's almost like it's giving you the optimism, the faith, the hope, like the trust, right? So that you can relax. It's what I'm hearing, but it's not relax in terms of not do anything, right? Because pretty much what you have to do is like you need to cross this threshold. And I want to rephrase that. It's not that you need to, it's almost like it cannot wait, right? It's like you've been given the chance to open your eyes sooner because the slightly open door was already the indication that you needed, right? It was already because sometimes I see the slightly open door, right? If you are in a dark room and there is like this crack that is open, it's like there is a little bit of light coming through that. But now, because the sun is highlighting this door, it's almost like it's so obvious that you cannot deny that this is the way to go, right? And you're going to be met, right, with justice, with fairness, with equanimity, right? It's like it's going to be something that you're going to be taken care of in a sense, right? It's like you're, because it's like this two-way street. So whatever you feel like you have to put up front, or maybe you have to invest a little bit of money, maybe you, whatever it is that you need to show up to give, right? It's like you're going to be met, because it feels like the tower here is talking about shelter, right? It's talking about like having a place to go, having a structure, having a foundation, having, the sun is not just highlighting the door. And it's interesting also, now I'm just realizing sometimes I see the tower as, just having this um, open arch. So it's not necessarily like a closed door, right? It's like it's just the structure, it's just the walls, right? The facade, but the door is here, right? So if we could like, I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but it's almost like this, right? It's like a 3D way of seeing this. It's like the door to the tower is up ahead, and you need to cross this threshold before you can cross through the bridge and enter the tower, which seems to be like the place that you can call home, right? Because to me, this is what the tower symbolizes. And I know that typically both of these major arcana can be very tough, right? Can be very like this very heavy, intense, transformative period, right? So it's almost like this death and rebirth, but then walking towards this reconstruction, this rebuilding of a tower, right? So it's not necessarily the destructive side of things. In fact, because the Six of Pentacles is coming before, it's almost like I feel like even though you don't know this yet, because the last row here is talking about how you've been blinded, actually, right? Maybe by fear, maybe by like the sense of hopelessness, right? And that's the reason why the sun is also here. The sun is wanting to shine a light in this path, which is going to provide you the shelter, the it's like some sort of security that perhaps right now you cannot see, because all you see is the death, right? So you don't know this about this journey, about what's on the other side. So you don't know that this is fair or not. It's like you're still maybe, counting your money, because this card is coming next, and it's talking about the Six of Pentacles, right? The King of Pentacles here is talking about your worry about the finances. But again, the highlight coming from the sun, it's like, realize, Aries, that you are the king, right? That you have enough, and that if you are scared to do this by yourself, right? If this is something that is like, maybe you're worried that your partner is not going to embark on this, right? Because if this is a two-way street, and maybe it's like you're concerned about like, how are you going to afford this for you and somebody else, right? Maybe a close relationship, or a family member, or whomever it is, right? It's like maybe it's the other way around. It's like you're going to be received by somebody that has the structure that perhaps is going to give you the sense of security, the sense of safety that right now it feels like even though you might have more than enough, you feel like you lack, because the Ten of Swords is coming next. So this is interesting, Aries, because the Ten of Swords actually was the card that when I was shuffling, it came before this card, right? Before the King of Pentacles. So, and the reason why, let me explain before I continue, why it came before this King of Pentacles. Because I was shuffling and this card, I could see that this card was wanting to come through, but it didn't really jump out of the deck. So I just continued shuffling, right? But I had a sense that it was going to come through. And then the King of Pentacles came through. And it's almost like this reassurance, perhaps like this clarity that you need maybe to believe that you are mature, that you are wealthy, that you have the resources required and necessary to step through this door, right? It's like you don't have to fear that once you cross through this threshold that you're going to lose everything. In fact, you won't. It's like you're going to be met equally, right? In a very fair way. And I'm just testing the word harmonious, because I don't feel necessarily that this is going to be harmonious. It feels like a practical agreement, right? So it's almost like you come in bringing something, and maybe the person who is hosting you, who is receiving you, who is welcoming you, or who is giving you whatever you need, right? Even more so if it is like actual shelter or whatever it is, right? Maybe it could be just the sense of home, right? The sense of being embraced in a place where you can call home, right? After such big change. It's like you know that at least in a practical way, things are going to work out. Things are going to it's like they're going to play out in a way that you're going to have like this open path, right? Because it's like the drawbridge, right, is opening up so that you have, the entry to this castle, to the tower. So because the Ten of Swords seems to be surrounding you, it's almost like you don't see your worth, or you don't see how much you have, right? Or at least you don't recognize your own value to the point that you feel like you lack, right? And because it's the 10, and also, the 6 to me also implies this exchange, right? Between two people is the agreement. But the 10, right, is the shared path to me. And being the 10 of Swords, it feels like there's a lot that is going on in your mind, that it's like you're being essentially too hard on yourself because you feel like you have to carry somebody like on your shoulders, or you have a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility. Maybe it's your child, maybe it's somebody that you need to take care of, right? That you need to have enough resources to take care of them, to provide for them. But it's almost like you are tied, right? It feels like you're trapped in this, and you're not, essentially, right? It's like it feels like you have your eyes wide open to see that this is not, it's like it's coming to an end, right? It's the 10, it's coming to an end. But if you feel like, so here's the thing about this bridge, there are some things that you are going to take, others you aren't, right? And what you aren't taking is all of the worry, all of this it's like this self-judgment, or this self negative talk, right? It's like this what is the word, self-sabotage, right? This is what it feels, because it's almost like the feeling that I have about this 10 of Swords, it's almost like you are imposing a lot on yourself because of somebody else, or on behalf of, a third person, or even like a second person, like whomever you are responsible for, right? It's almost like you are saying to yourself, I don't know if I can afford this for myself, let alone like me and another person, right? Because it's like you are including another person in your worry. And this is a reason why once you step through this door, it's like what you are left with is just what is fair, right? What is necessary, what is essential to keep you moving, to keep you safe, right? But without this, because we're ending here with the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords here is talking about the freedom, even though traditionally the Two of Swords talks about, like, the blindfold, right? Which I feel like it's what you've been, maybe not consciously, but to some degree, Aries, I do feel like you've been shown, right? Because you have received some sort of sign that this was the way to go, that you were receiving some sort of indication, right? That you needed to step through that door, but maybe you didn't consciously do it, or you didn't want to admit, or you didn't want to like open your eyes fully, right? But now that this is happening, it's almost like you cannot deny this, you cannot avoid this. And so for some reason, you're being given the chance, even though you are, it's like you're the only one who can do this for yourself, right? Even though we have the shared path here, even though we have the give and take here, right? The exchange here, it feels like the drawbridge will only open once you have freed yourself from the blindfold, because this is what ultimately will bring you this hope, or this sense of optimism, or this it's like restoration of your faith, right? Of like that, good days are yet to come, that perhaps that you can see the sun and just enjoy the day, right? Maybe that's the reason why it's like it's saying don't waste another day. It's like you can enjoy this day today right now, but it is a choice of like taking that blindfold. It's like you need to be the one who removes that, because the thing about the combination of these two, right, and what is preventing you from seeing your own value, seeing that you are this king, right, is like it's not a page, right? It's not like you are beginning in this path. It feels like you have accomplished a lot, but it feels like you have so much in your mind that is preventing you from seeing your own value, right? It's like over and over and over again. But again, this concern about somebody else that perhaps will, it's like maybe you feel responsible that if they follow your steps, right? Because to me, the twos, they also represent steps. If they follow your steps, then you're not sure if this is going to be a good idea for them, right? It's like you're going to be extra accountable for the consequences for the other person. But that's the thing, it's like this is just in your mind. You don't realize that this is just like this self-sabotage kind of defense mechanism, right? So here you see the two swords, right? They are surrounded by these other eight swords. So it's like creating kind of like this tunnel that it's almost like those blinders, right? For horses and donkeys and animals. This is what this 10 is looking like to me, right? Maybe that's the reason why perhaps, even if you had seen the glimpse of, this open door, it's almost like it's not until it gets to a point that you are blinded by the sunlight, right? That you realize that you have been blinding yourself consciously or unconsciously because you didn't want to go that path, or you were afraid, right, to open the door because the unknown is on the other side. So now it's almost like this reading here is giving you the reassurance that what you're going to find on the other side is kind of like this security, this safety, right? The structure that you need to rebuild your life, but leaving behind what was in fact blinding you, right? It's not the sun that is blinding you, but as a contrast, because you have been keeping this blindfold on your face, right? It's like now you're free from that, especially because the bottom of the deck is the Chariot. So it is movement, right? It's like even if you have tried to avoid this, even if you had tried to prevent this from happening, it feels like, again, it's not to be like this very deterministic type of reading, right? It's like you should this, that, do this or do that. It's like you do whatever you want to do, right? It's not a reading that's going to tell you what you need to do. You know what you need to do, right? But it feels like you have been pacing around, seeing it, seeing this opportunity, seeing this transformation with the corner of your eye, but not directly focusing on it, and it feels like right now it is the time to focus on that so that you can free yourself, walk away, right, consciously liberating yourself from this very narrow path and the blindfold, right? It's like once you start moving, the blindfold will just be gone. This is how I'm feeling, because it's almost like the blindfold is just there because you're not moving, right? But once you move, because you know that there is the bridge, you know that there is a place to go, right? A place to land that is going to welcome you. It's like you'll see that the fear is going to be gone. It's like it's not going to be there anymore, but it requires this trust, right? It's like this trust exercise so that it's almost like I'm feeling like the breeze, right? The breeze, the moment that you start walking, the breeze will help remove the blindfold, right? So even if you don't have the courage to like literally do this, right, and see for yourself whatever is in front of you, it's like just start moving, start taking the steps in this direction, because it feels like it's going to be highlighted. It's like you already know, even though it looks like it's scary, the movement will make it easier, right? It will make it more fair, more stable, more harmonious, and safer even. So, Aries, I truly hope that this was helpful. I am going to pull more cards for you to see where this wants to go. Maybe, whatever comes in the extended is like explaining a little bit more of what you're going to find in the tower or on the other side of this threshold. And also, I'm going to pull from the astrological rooms in the extended reading. So, if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find link down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Bye.